know the verse? No? Okay. Next time, right? Perfect. All right. And what have we been talking about the last few weeks, Isaac? Forgiveness. Very good. And what does forgiveness mean? What is it? Havana?
To forgive someone when they do something to you that you don't like to, you have to forgive them.
Yep. That's good. Does anybody want to add a bit more to it?
To forget about something that is that is annoying you or interesting you.
Okay, good. To just let it go, forget about it, right? And how are we, if we really forgive the other person, how do we treat them?
You have to love them.
That's right, we have to love them. We really need to treat them the same way we would want to be treated if we had done something that offended them, don't we? And sometimes that's hard to remember to do, isn't it? Well, today I'm going to tell you two different stories. The first story is about a boy named Brian, and he liked to do models. Do you guys like to do models? No?
Yes.
You like to do models?
Online.
Online, so not actual physical, touch it with and glue it with physical glue. Well, he loved doing models. And his grandfather had been in the Air Force, and so he had a real interest in doing model airplanes. And so for his birthday, his parents got him a model, and actually it had a lot more little pieces than are in this picture. It had a lot of really tiny pieces, and so it took him almost 2 months to put it all together because he had to read the diagram and look at the piece and then make sure he put it in the right piece and hold it for a little while so that the glue would set and it would keep it just right in the right place. Well, today was a day where we put the final piece in, and then he let it go and he thought, wow, I can finally paint it. What color do you think he wants to paint it? Blue is right. Blue. He looked through all the different tubes of paint that he had and looked at all the different colors, but he thought, you know what? Blue is the color I'm going to paint it. And just as he decided what color to paint it, his mom called him, Brian! What, Mom? I need you to take the dog for a walk. Do you guys have a dog? Nope. Dogs have to go for walks. And so he said, okay, I'll be right down. So he took the airplane and he put it away from the edge of the desk where he had been working. And he went downstairs and he got the dog and he took the dog for a walk. Now he liked his dog. It's a nice dog, isn't it? Yeah. And his dog's name was Storm, but he was really a very kind dog. I would think Storm would be a name of a dog who maybe was barking a lot and maybe not as friendly. But Storm was very friendly, and as they walked, always people wanted to pet Storm. And so it wasn't quick, and especially on today, because what's he going to do as soon as he gets back from the dog? Paint the model airplane. And so he is so excited, but he won't be rude. He still says hello to all those who say hello to him. Make sure the dog gets a good walk. Well, while he is out walking the dog, he has a sister named Carolyn. And she had heard him come downstairs and say something to his mom. And so she came out and said, what did Brian say? What were you guys talking about? Oh, you'll never guess what, Carolyn. Today is the day that Brian finally completed his model. And he's going to paint it when he gets back from taking the dog for a walk. That's so exciting. Now, it was school, so she still had some homework. But she wanted a glass of milk, so she went to the cupboard and she got a glass. She got some milk in the glass, and then she took it upstairs so hopefully she could get her homework done before dinner, and then she could read the book that she couldn't wait to read. Do you guys like to read?
Yes.
Yeah. Comics mostly. You don't want to read everything, right? There's some things you like and something, nah. Well, she had just gotten a new book and she was looking forward to really getting to read it. So she wanted to get that homework done, but she went up the stairs and she had to pass Brian's room before she got to her room, and the door was open and she could see the airplane sitting there on his desk. And she thought, he won't mind if I just go over and look at it. I won't touch it. I'll just look at it. So she went over and she looked at it. But she really wanted to see the underside of it. So she picked it up and she looked at it, and wow, he did an amazing job. There's such tiny pieces and I don't see anything out of place. Everything fits perfectly. And then she gently, very, very gently put it down. And then she thought, I better hurry up and do my homework. And as she turned away, whoops, guess what? Her sleeve caught the airplane, and because she was in a hurry, she turned around fast and the airplane went off the desk and flying, and she tried to catch it and she tripped over the chair that was at the desk, and when she fell on the floor, guess what was underneath her? His model airplane. She didn't even want to get up. She's like, oh no, he is going to be so upset. But it was an accident. Now she was tempted to pretend it didn't happen, pretend she didn't know how it happened, or just outright lie. But should she do any of those things? No, and she realized that's not the right thing. I'm just going to have to tell Brian I broke his airplane. It was an accident. I didn't mean to, but I got to admit it and then ask him to forgive me. And so she was sitting there like this, thinking, oh no, he's going to hate me. He's going to be so mad. And then she heard him finally coming up the stairs. She could tell he was so excited. And when he came in the room, he looked on the desk first. Was the airplane there? No. And then he saw his sister sitting on the floor. And then he saw the airplane sitting next to her. The wing was smashed. The propeller was bent. Oh, he got angry as right. And he picked it up and took it away from her. How dare you touch my airplane? How dare you? And she said, oh, but Brian, I didn't mean to. It was an accident. I looked at it, and then as I turned away, my sleeve caught it and it fell on the floor. I tried to catch it, but as I did, I tripped on the chair and I fell right on top of it. And I'm so very sorry. He didn't want to hear anything. He just grabbed the airplane and he ran down the stairs, and he was going to go tell his mom because he wanted Carolyn to get in trouble, don't you think? Yeah. Oh, he wanted to tell her a few things, call her a few ugly names, but he decided he better just talk to Mom first. So he went out and she was crying. And then he went downstairs and his mom had a talk with him. Now, before we get to the rest of the story, do you think there was something that Carolyn could have done to avoid this problem?
Yes. Do her homework straight away.
Yeah. Maybe not even go in her brother's room, just look at it from a distance. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Now, was it normal for her brother to be upset? That was normal, wasn't it? That was natural. Should he have gotten so angry that he wanted to call her names? No. That's not what Jesus would do, is it? Now, we understand why he did, because we've been in that same situation. Does Jesus want us to get angry and call other people names? No, he doesn't. So what should Brian have done? Start hollering at her? That's what he did first. Did he call her any ugly names? No, he didn't. So he stopped himself before he went far enough to do that, and he left the room. Was that a wise thing to do, to leave the room? Yes. It was a wise thing, because if he would have stayed there, what would he have done? get more angry, called her names. Hopefully he wouldn't hit his sister. Boys are not supposed to hit girls, are they? Boys are supposed to treat girls with respect. Girls shouldn't hit boys either. Yeah. So he shouldn't have gotten really angry in the first place, especially when she explained it. But he did get angry, but he did a wise thing by leaving before he really let it get too far. Now, how long should we be angry with someone?
1 second.
1 second, okay. A very, very short time. The Bible says in Ephesians chapter 4, let not the sun go down upon your wrath or your anger. In other words, if you do get angry, you better get that straightened out that very day. Don't let it go on to the next day. Because what does anger do to us on the inside? Does it make happy feelings, good thoughts? It makes bad feelings, angry thoughts, thoughts of getting even. Are those healthy for us? Absolutely not. And so we need to, like Lucas said, be angry for just 1 second or get over as quickly as possible. 1 second would be very quick. All right, now, he hasn't come back to talk to his sister, but how do you think he could forgive his sister?
By saying it's okay.
By saying it's okay. Okay, he'll fix it. All right. How could he treat her with love? Because that's what we're supposed to do when we forgive, right? If we really forgive, we're supposed to treat the person with love. How could he do that?
Not get angry.
Not stay angry at her, right? Forgive her, not stay angry. Speak kindly to her. Yeah, because he was just speaking angry with her, wasn't he? Should Kathy have to do anything? No, but should she show her brother or try to do something, show she's really sorry? She probably should. So what do you think she might be able to do?
Try to rebuild it.
Or at least help him do it, right? Maybe he doesn't want her to do it all by himself or herself. That's right. Now, if you were Brian and you came and you saw your airplane broken, how would you react?
Probably be super confused what happened.
Super confused at first of what happened. I think he did feel that, and then he felt anger. Is it pretty normal for us to get angry like he did? It is. We can't deny that. We're human, aren't we? But we have Jesus as our Savior, and so Jesus can help us to make that anger be very short time and hopefully not say things we shouldn't. Well, let's find out what Brian's mom told him when he went downstairs. She said, Brian, I want you to get out the Bible and I want you to find the Lord's Prayer. It's in Matthew chapter 6. I have it all written out here. And I want you to read all the way through verse 15. But I want you to pay special attention to verses 14 and 15. So it's at the end, it says, after the amen, for if ye forgive men their trespasses, in other words, the things that they do that bother you, that hurt you, if you forgive them, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if ye forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father, your heavenly Father, forgive your trespasses. And so she talked to him. She didn't even know that it was an accident. Mom didn't know it was an accident. But even if it wasn't an accident, should Brian still forgive Carolyn?
Yeah.
He should. And so that's what Mom was showing him. You know, you want God to forgive you every time you do something wrong and you tell God, God, I'm sorry, I did wrong. And you know, if you want God to keep forgiving you, then God has something for you to do. What is that something that God has for you to do? To forgive other people. That's right. Some things are easier to forgive than others, aren't they? This was hard for Brian because he was so excited about the airplane. He hadn't even got to paint it yet or put it up on his shelf to display. And here it was broken already. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have to forgive, that he's allowed to stay angry, does it? So he said, Mom, you are right. First, I need to ask God to forgive me because I talked to Carolyn, my sister, pretty angry. I didn't speak to her kindly. I did stop myself from calling her some names, but I still spoke in an angry tone. And I wanted to say some pretty mean and nasty things to her. And that's not right. And so he prayed and he asked God, God, please forgive me for getting angry and speaking unkindly to my sister. And please forgive me for even thinking about saying some nasty things and calling her names. And then, Lord, please help me to forgive her because I know I need to forgive her. And so then he went upstairs and he found his sister. She was still worried because she knew how upset he was. And he sat down beside her on the floor and he said, Carolyn, I need to ask you to forgive me. What? For what? And he said, well, I got angry and I didn't speak kindly to you. And so I apologize for not being kind to you. You didn't mean to do it. It was an accident. But even if it wasn't an accident, I still forgive you. Do you think Carolyn kept looking like this? Nope, she got a big smile on her face. She was so happy. And she said, I really am sorry, Brian. And if there's anything I can do at all to help you fix this, I want to help you. And he said, well, you can watch me fix it. And while I'm fixing it, if I think of something for you to do, you can help me. But I think I'll fix it. Would you probably done the same thing, especially if your sister's younger than you? Probably. So, but he was kind about the way he said it, wasn't he? And he let his sister watch. I think he did a good job in forgiving. It wasn't easy for him, but he did the right thing. Now I have another story about two girls, a big sister and a little sister. We have two brothers, and we have two brothers, and you have a brother too, don't you? And you have two brothers, not a sister. You guys have a sister, right? And Lucas doesn't have a sister. No. And Aiden doesn't have a sister. And you guys don't have a sister. Maybe someday, right? Okay. Can sisters be annoying sometimes?
Yes.
They can. Miss Beth is a sister, but she also has a sister. I'm the big sister. And the little sister, sometimes she could be so sweet and nice, and other times she could be so very annoying. Well, the two sisters' names are Judy and, let me see if I can think what's, Katie? Judy and Katie. Judy is the older sister. Katie is the younger sister. Now, they were gonna send a special package to their grandparents. And so their mom said, why don't you, Katie, color a picture in your coloring book? And Judy was very good at drawing. And so she said, Judy, why don't you draw a nice picture? And I'm gonna put your pictures in the package that we're sending to Grandpa and Grandma. It was probably Grandpa or Grandma's birthday. And so they wanted to do something very special. So they were coloring and drawing. And then Mom said, girls, I need you to help me. So put that stuff away. Judy, I need you to wash the dishes and clean up the kitchen, wipe the table off. And Katie, there's toys down here. There's toys upstairs in the hall. There's toys all over your room. I want you to tidy up all the toys, and then I want you to make sure that the beds are nicely made. Oh, I can do that. And as Katie started to go away, Judy said, now, Katie, I still need to work on my picture a little bit more. Could you take it upstairs and put it on the desk in our room? very carefully because I want it to stay really nice and I want to work on it just a little bit more. She did a good job drawing it, didn't she? That's pretty nice horse. I don't think I could draw it that well. I know Lucas could. He's pretty good at drawing.
Google Images.
Huh?
Google Images.
Google Images. Yep, you're right. I couldn't draw this myself. So her sister, she took it, but then as she thought, I don't want to have to go upstairs and downstairs, so I'm going to pick up these toys that are down here along with the picture, and then I'll just be able to go upstairs once, clean up there, and I'll be done. Well, when she had that picture in her arms and she's picking up the other toys, she kind of forgot about the picture. And so she went over to the toy box. I'll show you her toy box. And she dumped the toys, everything that was in her arms, straight into the toy box. So what happened to the picture? The picture went into the toy box too. And she didn't even think about it. She wasn't paying attention. She was just thinking, I got to do it fast. And so then she was throwing other toys in there on top of it. And of course, the picture got kind of crinkled and creased and crumpled. That's right. Well, but she wasn't even thinking about it. She didn't do it on purpose. She would never do that on purpose to her sister. No, no. Well, her sister was downstairs. She was working hard and she was upstairs tidying up. And she finally said, Mom, I'm finished. All the toys are put away. And my bed doesn't even have a wrinkle in it. I made it so nice and neat. Did you guys do that when you make your bed? Make it nice and neat, no wrinkles, nice and smooth. Oh, she knew, huh?
It's kind of hard when I have a blanket that's made out of wool.
Oh, yes, that can be difficult. So she was so proud of herself. She had worked hard, and even though she was the little sister, she thought, I think I got done before my big sister. And they actually got done right about the same time because Judy said, I'm done too. And she said, I'm coming upstairs. And so she ran up the stairs and she looked at the desk and she expected to see what on the desk? The picture. But what was there? Nothing. And Katie had already gone downstairs because she wanted to tell her mom, I'm finished and I did a really good job. Now Judy thought, I know that Katie had the picture in her hands. I know she came up here. She must have put it somewhere. So she started looking under the desk. Maybe it fell down on the floor, looking under the bed, looking all around. She couldn't find it. There's only one place it could be, and that is in the toy box. So she went over to the toy box and she looked around, and this is the same picture but kind of crinkled. Can you see the crinkles? Do you think she wants to send it like that to her grandma? Oh, she got mad. How dare my sister do that to my picture? Oh, now it's ruined. I'm going to have to draw another whole picture. Oh, she was so angry. She went downstairs to go find her sister, and her mom took one look at Judy, and she knew something was wrong. She didn't know what. She said, Judy, you need to sit down here. Katie, why don't you go back upstairs for a few minutes? That's probably a good thing, wasn't it? Because if Judy was able to say anything to Katie, it probably would have been unkind, not very nice. But Mom stopped that from happening. I think that was wise on her mom's part, don't you? Because then Judy doesn't have to regret saying something that she shouldn't have said. And she said, now Judy, I can tell something's wrong. You want to tell me about it? Oh, do I want to tell you about it? You know my picture? I drew such a nice horse picture for Grandma and Grandpa, and I asked Katie very nicely to take my picture upstairs, put it on the desk carefully, because I still need to add a few more details to the picture. But she didn't. No, I looked all over for it and I finally found it. It was in the toy box underneath toys and it's all wrinkled and crinkled. And her mom said, well, that probably wasn't done on purpose. Your sister probably didn't say, you know what, I'm going to put her picture in the toy box so it gets ruined. Do you think that your sister would do that to you? And when she stopped and thought about it, she said, no, yeah, Katie doesn't really act like that. But when we get angry, we don't stop and think about some things, do we? The first thing that comes in our mind, that's what we think. It has to be true because I thought that's what happened. And her mom said, I think you better think about this. Your sister probably still doesn't even know why you were upset with her. I don't think she did this on purpose. But also, don't you think you could draw another picture? It didn't take you very long to draw this picture. She thought about it. Yeah, I could draw another picture. I could draw the same picture, just draw it again. Yeah, you could do that. But there's something else that you need to do before you do that. What do you think it is, Judy? That's right. She needs to forgive her sister. And you need to ask God to forgive you because you let anger build up in your heart. And if I wouldn't have stopped you, you would have said some mean, ugly things to your sister, wouldn't you? Yes, Mom, I would have. And so Judy, she bowed her head and she talked to Jesus and said, Jesus, please forgive me for allowing anger to take over and make me have ugly thoughts about my sister. Please forgive me. I didn't respond in the right way. And please help me to forgive my sister. She probably didn't even do it on purpose. Please help me to forgive her. And so she went and found Katie. And you know what? Katie didn't even know why she had been upset. She still didn't know. So did she do it on purpose? No, she would have done it on purpose. She would have known and would have been like, oh no, here comes Judy. I'm in trouble. But she didn't even know. And so she told Katie, she said, Katie, you ruined my picture. What? I did? Somehow it ended up in the toy box. That's why I was upset. I'm so sorry, Judy. I didn't know. I didn't do it on purpose. Will you forgive me? Will she forgive her? Of course, that's what she came to do. And she said, of course I will. And she said, is there anything I can do, Judy, to make it all better? She said, give me a hug. She didn't want her sister anywhere near her new paper and her new picture. And she said, give me a hug. So they gave each other a hug. And then, of course, Judy redrew the picture and probably even turned out better the second time, don't you think? Yeah, I think so too. Do you think that Judy learned an important lesson? Yeah, it's so easy when somebody does something that we don't like to think they did it on purpose, isn't it? But did either one of these in either story do it on purpose? No, the accidents happen, don't they? And so sometimes we just need to stop ourselves and say, you know, this could have been an accident. I need to be careful. But even if it's not an accident, do I still need to forgive? I do, don't I? Either way, it's not easy to forgive. If they did it on purpose, it's maybe even a little bit harder to forgive. But even when it's an accident, sometimes it's hard to forgive, isn't it? Who will help us to forgive? God. That's right. And especially since He tells us to forgive. Anything He tells us to do, He will always help us to do when we ask Him to do it. Now, we're going to learn these two verses, but today we're just going to work on verse 12. All right? And can you hand those out for me?
It's a long one.
It's a long one, I know. We'll talk about what it means before we memorize it, because it has some big words in it. Whoops, okay. Now it says, put on, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, and actually it's going to add at least one more thing in the next verse. But look, it says put on. When we have Jesus as our Savior, we have to take some things off or take some things out of our life. Sins, don't we? We have to get rid of things. And in place of sin, what are we supposed to put to our life or put on like we put on a coat? Bowels of mercy. What in the world is bowels of mercy? Remember, mercy is not demanding a punishment when somebody has done something wrong. In other words, not getting even. Is that hard or easy? Because we naturally want to get even, don't we? You did this to me, I'm going to do something back to you. But we're supposed to put on bowels of mercy. In other words, we're supposed to have a lot of mercy, and that mercy is supposed to make us act with mercy. So much mercy that we act in mercy. If you had a tiny, tiny speck of mercy, maybe you wouldn't act in mercy. But if we have bowels, lots of mercy, we're going to act differently, aren't we? We're not going to get even. We're not even going to think about getting even. We're going to forgive, aren't we? Kindness. We know what kindness is, isn't it? Don't we? That's doing good things to other people. How about humbleness of mind? Being humble, having humility. What is that? Is it thinking that you're the greatest? That's pride, isn't it? And humbleness of mind is the opposite of pride. Does that mean I go around thinking instead, I'm the worst person ever? No. Actually, humility means that you have the right opinion of yourself. You're not the worst person ever. You're probably not the best person ever either, are you? Who's the best person ever? God. So we don't need to be proud. We need to be a humble person. Is it easier to forgive if we're humble? Yeah. Because when we're humble, we're not thinking about myself. When I'm proud, I have pride, who am I thinking of? I, right? That middle letter. I. We're not thinking of others. All right, and then meekness is very similar to humility, but it has a little bit different idea. It means to deal with a situation quietly. How do we deal with a situation when we're angry? Are we quiet? We're usually very loud, aren't we? So we need to put on that meekness, dealing with situations in a humble manner and also quietly. Do we have to tell everybody else about what the person did to us? No, we don't. So meekness isn't going to go and tell everybody else. So if Ivana did something to Isaac, Isaac's not going to go tell Isaac, do you know what Ivana did to me? No, meekness will just deal just with Ivana about it and just keep it quiet, not go and tell everybody else about it. And then long suffering. It's sort of like patience. And it gives you the idea long. How long do we need to be patient with somebody? As long as it takes. Long suffering. So patience or long suffering does what? How does it treat other people? Kindly, that's right. When we're patient with somebody, we're long-suffering, we are going to treat them kind, and we're also going to think the best about them in the situation. Did Brian automatically think the best of his sister in the situation? He thought she did it on purpose. What about Judy? Did she automatically think the best about her sister? She thought she did it on purpose too. So when we are patient, we're also going to not think the worst of the person. We're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Have you ever heard that? We're not going to think automatically that they did it on purpose. All right. So now that we know what these words mean, let's say it together again. Put on, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering. Colossians chapter 3, verse 12. We better do that again. It's a long one, isn't it? Okay. Put on, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering. Colossians chapter 3, verse 12. Okay, Zach, you had your hand up first. Go ahead. Excellent. Very good. Okay. I think I'm going to go zoop, 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 zoop. Okay, so Josh, you can have two. Mercies. Excellent. Okay, Isaiah.
Put on, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering. Colossians chapter 3, verse 12.
Aiden.
Put on, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering. Colossians chapter 3, verse 12.
Very good. Okay, Ivana.
Put on, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering. Colossians chapter 3, verse 12.
Lucas. Saving the best for last, Isaac.
Put on, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, is it kindness?
Yes, kindness.
Kindness, humble of mind, meekness, long-suffering. Colossians chapter 3, verse 12.
Very good. All right, Isaac.
Put on, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering. Colossians chapter 3, verse 12.
Very good. Okay. Now we have our song to sing as well that goes along with being forgiving and being kind. Let me get that out. Okay. Remember this, right?
Yeah.
All right. Be ye kind to one another, be tender-hearted too. Be kind to one another in everything you do. Just follow Christ's example, be loving, kind, and true. Forgiving one another as God hath forgiven you. Oh, how does God forgive us? Every time, right? Completely. And does he ever remind us of it?
Yes.
Does he remind us of the things we've done wrong once he's forgiven us? He forgets about it. And so that's how we have to forgive others. That's right. All right, let's do this one. We'll have the first row and the second row, okay? So when I do 1, the first row shouts it, and when I do 2, the second row shouts it. The things I used to do, I don't do them anymore. No, sir. The things I used to do, I don't do them anymore. No way. The things I used to do, I don't do them anymore. There's been a great change since I've been born again. There's been a
Great change.
since I've been born. There's been a
Great change.
since I've been born. There's been a
Great change.
since I've been born. There's been a great change since I've been born again. The things I used to say, I don't say them anymore. No, sir. The things I used to say, I don't say them anymore. No way. The things I used to say, I don't say them anymore. There's been a great change since I've been born again. There's been a
Great change.
since I've been born. There's been a
Great change.
since I've been born. There's been a
Great change.
since I've been born. Been a great change since I've been born again. I changed it up the last time. I did 2-1, 2-1. I was just trying to see if you guys would notice. All right. And then one favorite, at least one favorite, or maybe a new song. Did we learn any new songs this week?
The one way.
Oh boy, One Door. I know that one. I don't know the One Way song. You guys know that better than I do. Oh, it's not in here. Uh-oh. Do you guys remember this one? We haven't sung this in a long time. Let's see if Miss Beth can remember it too. Okay, I think we start on this page. Ready? Work on your attitudes the way you know you should. Put away those selfish thoughts and think only on good. Check all your motives, make sure they pass the test. Then the Lord will help you to do your very best. You've got to work on your attitudes in all you do and say. Look for opportunities to practice them each day. People around you are watching all you do, so work on your attitudes. Faith, joy, and gratitude. Yes, work on your attitudes today and this week. Because not just one day, right? Every day.